All right, today we're jumping into a really fascinating analysis of NASA. It's all about how the agency has been navigating this total storm of politics and budget fights, but somehow it's come out the other side looking stronger than ever. So yeah, let's get right into it. So the source material we're digging into really centers on one big question. How on earth does an agency like NASA not just survive, but actually thrive when it's staring down what the text calls apocalyptic budget cuts? It's a really wild paradox that gets you thinking about performance, politics, and how we see it all. Okay, so first up, let's talk about the money. The first huge conflict our source breaks down is this absolutely dramatic fight over NASA's funding that was happening behind the scenes in government. And look, we're not talking about a small trim here. The proposed cut was staggering. Over $6 billion would have been sliced from NASA's budget for FY 2026. This would have been a catastrophe, pretty much gutting the science directorate by almost half. But here's the crazy part. That's not what happened, not even close. According to the source, Congress just flat out rejected these cuts. And instead, they ended up allocating funds that pushed NASA's effective budget to around $27 billion. That's its highest level in decades, believe it or not. I mean, the reversal was just night and day. The gap between that initial idea of maybe $18.5 billion and the final funding near $27 billion is just massive. The source doesn't just see this as stopping a cut. It frames it as this incredibly powerful statement supporting what the agency does. So you have to ask, right? During this exact time, with all this budget uncertainty swirling around, what was NASA actually doing? Well, according to this analysis, its performance was nothing short of incredible. And this is the key thing to get. While all these budget fights were going on, NASA was just firing on all cylinders. You've got the Artemis program pushing ahead to get humans back near the moon. The James Webb Telescope is literally changing how we see the universe. Perseverance is driving around on Mars. And commercial launches are becoming just normal. This quote from the source really just sums up the whole vibe perfectly. The author basically calls it the ultimate power move. You get this massive cut proposed on paper. Congress swoops in and basically gives you a raise, and all the while, the agency just keeps racking up these huge, historic wins. And this is where the analysis gets really, really interesting. The source directly compares government spending on two totally different things: space exploration on one side and a specific military conflict on the other. So the source lays out these numbers side by side, and wow, it's pretty stark. You see NASA's annual budget of about $27 billion right next to the source's accounting of a conflict in Iran, which it puts at over $65 billion in direct costs. Get this, over $11 billion of that was spent in just the first 6 days, and the outcomes are contrasted too: new discoveries for humanity versus damaged military targets. So what's the point of this comparison? Well, the author says it's to shine a light on what they call a hypocrisy in how we talk about government spending. The argument is that the way we judge the value of spending on science and exploration is often completely different from how we look at military spending. Okay, let's bring this all back down to earth for a second, literally, because the analysis then dives into the real, tangible economic impact of NASA, the kind of stuff that might be in your home right now. And the source puts a number on it: over $75 billion in annual economic output. The argument is that we need to stop looking at NASA as just a line item expense and start seeing it for what it is: a powerful engine for our own economy and innovation. So how does that engine actually work? The source calls it an innovation pipeline. It's simple, really. NASA has to invent insane new tech to survive in space. Then that technology gets adapted for us down here, creating whole new companies and products and generating billions for the private sector. And this is not some abstract idea. We're talking about stuff you definitely know. That memory foam mattress you love, the camera sensor in your smartphone. According to the source, dozens of everyday things like these trace their history right back to NASA research. It's a pretty compelling case for the return on investment. Okay, so this all builds up to the source's final take, which goes way beyond budgets and tech. It really gets into the cultural and political stories we tell ourselves about the space agency. The author points out this weird contradiction.
On one hand, you have NASA's real, tangible achievements, things we can see and verify, sometimes getting brushed off as bloated government waste. But then, on the other hand, the source notes how eagerly some people embrace conspiracy theories about secret, powerful space tech, what it calls conspiracy catnip.
And this all ties into the author's final big point. The analysis frames NASA as the ultimate engine of what it calls American exceptionalism. From this perspective, supporting NASA isn't just about a budget. It's about defending innovation, creating jobs, and ensuring the country's place as a technological leader. And that pretty much leaves us with this one big question, which really captures the whole point of this analysis. When you look at any government program, whether it's aiming for the stars or trying to solve problems here at home, what's the real way to measure its value? Is it the price tag, the economic spin-offs, the scientific breakthroughs, or is it something less tangible, like national pride? That's definitely something to think about.